It's Buddy the dog in all his glory right here. He's on the mission for something. But we've got some stuff to do. I haven't been able to film videos for a while because of the nice weather we've had. Also, consequently, now it's cold. And I think tonight it's supposed to get down into the 20s. So we'll probably have to drain the water back out of our junkyard tractor. But anyway, we'll get down here to this 77 diesel. And I'll explain what our plan is. All right, the Junkyard 77 diesel, it needs some love. And that's what I want to do today. I want to at least try to get the head pulled off of this injection pump and perhaps get the injectors pulled so that we can start the cleaning process, so that we can start the, you know, being able to attempt to run it process. The diesel is a lot more difficult to get going than a gas tractor, and that's just the nature of the beast. So we're gonna get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm the Oliver Man. 77 diesel from the junkyard. This is one that I've been excited I want to get to, and I know other people have been as well. It's just been, yeah, I knew it was going to be a lot more difficult, so I kind of put it off and did the other one first. Before we start on this though, I got a whole bunch of parts here in my hand I want to put on these other two tractors just so they're not laying around. So let's go do that real quick. All right, how bad do we want to struggle? Let's start with the one that should, in theory, be easy, although life never is, so why would this? But one thing I did was, I don't like the pop bottle sawed off on there, so I went ahead and got a muffler, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna have to saw this pipe down because I don't know that I want that much pipe sticking up in there because it'll inevitably get stuck. So yeah, it's not as easy as I thought it would be. I could take the Sawzall and chop a little of this off. That might be what I do. Probably be the easiest way. Let me go grab that and we'll get this to happen. Yeah, what good is a saw without a battery? I forgot that I robbed my batteries working on house projects over the last few days. Weather made it necessary to drop what I was doing and work on that stuff. Now let's fix this up so you can't hear what's happening, because this will be crazy. I'm gonna try to just skate along and I'm gonna try to do this. Is this the right thing to do? Would help if I got a blade that wasn't dull. Alright, you don't like the way I did it? Well, you do it your way on yours. You get your junkyard tractor and you saw it off however you want. That's your problem. That's more better. I don't mind them protruding in there a little bit, but if you get carried away, friends, it'll stick to that and you won't be able to get it off again. Don't ask how I know that. That's about how I like them. Perhaps that's even a little higher than I would care. I might have to saw it off a little more. I like to... What I'm saying is, I like the clamp to be, oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't know that I had, oh well, it'll burn in. What I'm saying is, it really gets me when you see people, I like the clamp to be below the hood, and I just can't, it breaks my brain when you see people put it like all the way up here and then they have the clamp above the hood and the muffler looks goofy sticking too far. You know, that's really a little too high, even in my thinking. I think it should be down a little bit more, but I think we'll live with this for now. And if I change my mind and don't like it, or I could just do it now that I've said no. We're gonna be messing with this more and more and more, but it needs to be down low next to the hood, but not so low that this is rubbing the hood. You know, I feel like it should go down a little bit more. I could get there probably, but I should have taken it down just the shade more. I kind of like the pipe to be long enough that it will go through the hood, even if, you know, that's fine. We can make it. There. 99% of the people you meet, they would not care a lick about that. But I have my ways about me, and there's things that I like and don't like, and things that I like are the muffler being at the height that I wanted it at, and so we will do whatever it takes to get it there. But yeah, that's a lot more better. That's about right. That minuscule difference, yeah, bothers me. Also, this little skinny feller is more in line with like the supers. You know, that's what I think. Maybe I'm not right on that, but whatever. All right, another thing that I buy a bunch of, 2.5 inch 3/8 muffler clamps. I don't know how many of those I've bought in my lifetime, but it is a bunch. If I was any kind of a YouTuber, I would get you in on the action so you could see what's happening. But we're gonna put this down tight and then immediately have to take it off probably when we want to take the hood off for some reason. And then you're gonna want to drop everything. So that's what you want. I hear bovines mooing in the distance. They are stirred up. Sure. Let's put that where we can actually get to it. And then we will get the wrench that I brought and then immediately lost to tighten said clamp. And then you're going to want to go loose instead of tight the first go around. We're going to call that good for now. That got another piece off of our front porch. I got the little ting-ting coming. It wasn't here yet. So if we think it's going to rain, we'll throw a bucket over it or something. But that takes care of that. We'll just go down the line from one project to another. On this, I got a belt that's the correct length, I hope. So, should we struggle and try to put that on? Or should we wait until another episode? I'm kind of thinking now I should probably wait till another episode and do this on a video with wiring up this alternator. So we'll table that for a minute. Let's go work on what we set out to do, which is the 77 diesel. I'm having a hard time finding a place that isn't mud, friends. So many projects are happening at once here in the background. Not all of them are worthy of your viewership, but some of them are. And so that's what we're doing. Side curtain delete. Let's get that off of there. Now, first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna get a wrench and take these injection lines off. They're already loose at the injectors, and I got this holder loose. So they should just pop right off. Once we get that, we'll lay them aside. Then we will take this line loose. That's already loose, so that saves us trouble. And it's been a long time since I've messed with one of these pumps. But we'll take this off and then pull that little deal out. And then I also think I need to pull that out. I think that goes through there, and then I can pull the whole head out as one. And it doesn't matter the timing now because it's way out of time anyway, because we pulled the gear off the front. And we'll get this off. I should be able to show you, there should be a tooth, like a marked tooth, and that's what's gonna have to line up when we do our timing and everything. And we can line that up on the head. You know what I'm saying. I'll have to pull it out of there, and we'll more than likely have to get it unstuck before we do that. Even if it's not stuck by some slim miracle, I'm still gonna disassemble it and try to get a seal kit for it. I think you can still get that, so I need to call the shop or talk to him whilst I'll take him these injectors too and let him work his magic on them, because they probably all need new tips at this point. And if he can do it, he can usually do it cheaper than I could order the tips and do it myself. So I just let him do stuff like that. All right, don't ever underestimate the power of struggling. That's what we're gonna do today. Let's try a little bit longer wrench. Maybe that'll give us the... All right, where were we? Well, we were at injection lines of sadness. That's where we were. We wasted like 5 minutes of tape there while the phone rang and I talked. And then I went around and found this offset wrench, which I forgot that I left layout in the elements on the 1250, so it's kind of rusty now, but that's okay. It was rusty when I bought it. That set of offset wrenches I bought it's a Cornwell brand, and I found them on the internet, and it was a partial set, and I bought them, and then I bought the missing ones from the Cornwell dealer and paid about as much for the missing ones as I did for everything that I got. But that was still less than half price of what they were for a new set. These things are super expensive. You wouldn't think they would have to be, but I guess they know they got you, you know. I'm actually gonna spray this down with some Zep. I did it once the other day, but I think I'd rather spray her again, just so that they all turn on the pipe. You know what I mean? I don't expect that there's going to be any problem, but since we got this stuff, we're going to use it. Also, I feel like, you know, that Zep is super expensive, I found out. But I feel like you don't use as much of it as you do like the PB Blaster or whatever. And I'm not saying just because it's expensive and you think I can't use it. It's just, it doesn't take much to do the same thing that a whole can of that other stuff would do. So yeah, I don't know. I think it works so much better. I don't know. It'd be real cool if this would come off like hand loose, but I guess it's not gonna, is it gonna do that for me? Oh, cows. I don't know what your problem is, but you don't need to sit here making noise all the time. God. Cows are a strange creature, friends. I know you think they look cute when you put them on your bathroom wall in a cute little picture, but in real life, I just don't know about them sometimes, you know? They can literally be standing on opposite sides of the fence with a gate on each side, and they won't walk over to get next to each other. They'll sit there and stare at each other and moo continuously. And I think that's the kind of situation we have going on right now. Jeez. What is your problem? It is hay day, so we'll probably have to take them out some here after a while. But still, they should be fine right now. They still have some in their pen. I just looked. But there's some reason that one is just not happy. Well, oh, come on. This one's gonna be, it's not tight. It's just gummed up from all the grease and blow by and inevitably everything that was on this motor when it last ran, because it was probably pretty tired. All right, friends, bovine problem solved. One of them got all the way over here and couldn't see the other ones and didn't know what to do. So I went out there and started yelling at it, and it took off towards the rest of the cows, so it should be going back over there now and be fine. I think it thought that everybody moved away and it didn't know where the rest of them were, even though they were here the whole time. I don't know. Cows are a strange creature. Now, this is going to be a trick, because what's happening here, as happens so often on these injection lines, they're stuck down in there kind of, and sometimes you got to like pry around to pop them up. But on this one, I can't really do a lot because of the nature of these injection lines, unless I took them out one at a time. And that's not really something I'm wanting to do. I'm gonna have to keep messing with them. The back three are definitely loose. That one's loose. Okay, that one's loose. That one just took a little bit of persuading. Now, can I do the same thing with this? Nope, I cannot. There, peer pressure. It works, friends. Don't let anybody tell you it doesn't, because it does. Now, getting this out of here is gonna be a feat of engineering, probably, because I probably should have took the, boy, that's not good, dirty, and I just didn't help my cause. Come out of there. All right. I really needed to take that filter off first. We will high pressure air these lines and stuff before we put them back on, because I don't want them to have trash in them and end up plugging up stuff right away. I should have took this filter off right away. I should have done that before I did anything else, because it's holding up my ability here to get the injection lines off easy. Silly me, not thinking. What a shocker. What are you barking at, buddy the dog? A rabbit? I'm running out. Ooh, there's still diesel fuel in there. That's liquid. That's nice. All right, injection lines of sadness, delete. We need to put them somewhere dry. Are you bored yet? I don't know, a lot of people asked for this, so if you're bored, that's on you. I can't help it that I'm not smarter or better looking and make better entertainment. This is as good as I can do. Frame rail. That's what I miss about working on other brands of tractors. You don't have this little edge to set some stuff on. And if you don't have a flat surface, why? You're cooked, you know? It's not as much fun. Now, can we lose this? No. Well, it's kind of oilish in there. Do we want to do the screwdriver test? I don't think so. I think we want to just take this off and accept our fate that this is stuck. And then we can try the screwdriver test, but that's going to mean I'm going to have to get a screwdriver. See? Or I could just beat this relentlessly with the end of my ratchet and see if that does anything. I call that the ratchet test. Sure. Let's take this loose. Of course, I don't have my correct screwdriver again. I don't know what I did with it. And this one's not going to do it. Look at that flex, friends. That thing. That ain't even up for the task. That Chinesium metal. Alright, let's try this. Screwdriver is from a viewer. The sadness I made myself. So, there we go. I got too much stuff going on here, friends. I got phones ringing. Boy, that's unfortunate. I lost that clip. Well, at any rate. Now, that was stupid of me to put this away because... Alright, well, we're just going to pretend that it's stuck. And we're not going to worry about it. We're going to take it apart like we were going to do anyway. I'm just sitting here wasting time thinking about all my poor life choices, you know? Trying to decide what I want to do and don't want to do. Not that it makes any difference, because, like I said, it's a junkyard Oliver, so if it flies apart, are we really any worse off than we were? Alright, you got too hot, but what else is new? I got this pulled out. That goes through the bottom there. I'm bummed that what I did was I got too many things happening while I'm trying to film this, and I should just focus on what I'm doing, because I ended up slingshotting that clip somewhere. So if I get these loose, it should come up out of there as one, and then we'll take it inside to Dr. Ross's magical cleaner and cook it, take it apart and, you know, ultrasonic clean those pieces, because you really can't on injection parts. Yeah, you can't start emery clothing them down or you're gonna have junk. It's too precise of machining to make that happen. Now 1940s machining is probably less precise than today's stuff, but it's still pretty precise, you know. We can't just do whatever we want. We have to use some wits about us. Let's take our time here. Let's take our time. We don't want to pry underneath. I know somebody will be like, just stick it under there and let it eat. No, that would not be too smart, friends. First of all, this stuff is getting about impossible to find, so we can't just sacrifice it. Next, what you're going to want to do is knock everything into the dirt. That makes it, you know, knock it into the dirt. That way your precise machine parts are, you know, I'm trying to fight. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to resist the urge to turn it to help me get it out of there, because turning it is the bad thing we don't want to do, you see. So if we get these rollers pulled up out of here, it should come off, because they are stepped to hold the head down. And now it should just lift out of there. Oh, I felt something relax or whatever. Come on out of there. Come on out of there. Come on out of there. I'm fighting the urge to turn. I don't really want to turn it, if at all possible. I don't really want to pry under it either. I really want to just see if I can get it to pop out of there. Oh, see, I don't want to turn it. Don't turn it. Just come out of there, would it? That's all supposed to come. That's all supposed to come as one. Right? Come on up out of there. Why wouldn't you come up out of there? It feels like something's hitting it on the back. All right, are you ready for the good news or the possible worse news? Well, I finally got this out of there. I don't know why. Well, I know now why. That's the sad news, but just preliminarily now holding it in my hand, you can see the screwdriver test thing right here. That slot needs to be able to move up and down, and it does. It appears to be that is free. So I don't think that it was stuck. You know what I'm saying? It's a little stiff, but I think we're good to go. So it needs cleaned up. That's no big deal. This is your hydraulic head. This is the part that does the high pressure. This pump is basically just a gear case. The back half's the governor, and then this here does your timing to drive the head. Now, according to the book and the other times that I've done this, it's so simple. All you do is just pull the, you take those caps off, or these things, they hold down, you pull it up there. I couldn't get it. It felt like it was stuck. And I tried every which way and finally got it to pop loose. I didn't really want to pry on it. But now I see that I've broken this little washer here, and I don't remember that that's a thing. Like, I'm wondering if somebody has had this apart and they put something together wrong, like perhaps that washer's supposed to be underneath and they put it on top, or maybe that washer's wore out, or maybe that's not. I don't know. We're gonna have to look at the parts book and figure out what's happening. But the sad thing is then, in order to fix that, how far do I have to go? I don't know. Probably a total pump disassembly, which I guess is not a bad deal. I mean, I can take it the rest of the way off of here now and figure out what I got to do. But that's kind of stupid, because that shouldn't be. That shouldn't have happened. I don't understand why. That's the driving. See how that drives? There's a pump. But why did it do that to me? I don't understand that thing. It should not have done that to me. If it was just bent, I would bend it down and pretend my life was fine, but it's got a crack in it. And that disturbs me. Plus, I'm gonna have to get it put back together. It's gotta be put back together. Maybe this had something to do with why the tractor was parked originally. Maybe somebody rebuilt the pump and then it bogged down and locked up, because the pump is pretty clean, really, for what I would expect to see inside. I don't know, but I gotta look at the parts book, because like I said, I don't remember ever having that trouble on the few of these that I've done, not many. But I don't remember ever having that trouble where I wasn't able to pull that out of there easy like, you know. I don't know. It was hanging on that washer, and what it would have had to be was that the washer was hanging on those gear teeth. But see, then it shouldn't have been able to get down in there that far. I don't get what the way this is made. I don't understand how I just did what I did. There shouldn't be any way. And if you look at this, it looks like that washer's been cutting into that housing over run time, because look at how ate up it is there on top. So I'm gonna bet that somebody did something wrong back when they put this together. Maybe the last time somebody didn't follow directions, or somebody lost the correct piece and they put in that, and you know, they got it to go on there and they just hammered her home. I don't know, but maybe I screwed it all up. But I sure don't remember that as being an issue. Like, you're supposed to be able to pull this right out of there. So yet another mystery of the junkyard tractor presents itself. But I'm gonna have to do some thinking on what I'm gonna do there, because I can't well, now I can't turn it at all because I folded that piece up. But I don't think I can just live with myself if I just hammer it back down and live my life. I mean, it's still not gonna be the right way anyway, because it's not gonna be timed right. But help me understand how you're supposed to get that out of there any other way. It's not made that way. So I don't know, that's a puzzle. But we got the pump off this far, and other than that, results look pretty good. I mean, I probably should have just left it alone and ran it, because it probably would have run. But that is neither here nor there. We're in it this far. We're gonna do whatever we need to do. All right, this pump and my brain were working pretty hard playing keep away with my intelligence, but I got her figured out now to where I think I understand what was taking place. The reason I never had trouble before pulling these out is because I had it in time when I pulled it out. And that washer is actually made to the top of that shaft. I looked in the parts book and I thought, I don't remember there was a washer thing or whatever, but that's all one piece. Somehow it's riveted on the shaft, and in part of it there is a cutaway which would let it go, which tells me that's where it should have been when it was in time. Now, the guy before me also had trouble, because this chunk was broke out of it long ago. You can see that's not a fresh brake. I did clean it all up with brake clean, so it looks prettier now than it did a while ago, but that was totally black and not a clean brake. So it had a chunk missing out of it. Then I broke this chunk out of it and proceeded to crack something else, so I broke that chunk out of it. And I'm just gonna roll the dice with it, friends. It was running with missing part of it, but as long as it's not cracked now, I think we got a chance. And I have a line on maybe getting another shaft. I looked in the parts book again. I've never had one of these all the way apart, but they're very simple. But this is all one shaft that goes down in here somewhere, and then it transfers the driving from this direction to this direction. So that shouldn't be a big issue. But if you're going to take it apart, you're going to have a struggle, because if you don't want to turn it, that's where I made my flaw. It needed to be in time to pull it up out of there easy, and that's why I broke that washer. And apparently another guy before me either didn't have it timed right when they put it together once before and he broke it, or what, I don't know. But the point is, I'm not the first guy to make that mistake. Plus, you can tell someone else has been in here, because there's a mark. There's a few little marks on places, and I didn't do that. So obviously someone else has worked their handiwork on it. Now this, I am pleasantly surprised with, because I think it's good to go. I'm not even going to take it all the way apart. Everything spins freely. The only possible thing that might be, it's possible that the fuel plunger in there up top might be sticky or whatever, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I got an idea. We can test this theory by, we can put this head back on, and it doesn't even matter if it's in time or not, because the rest of the tractor's not put together. But if I could get fuel to this head, I could run it with the starter and see if it squirts fuel out, and then that would tell me that, you know, things are looking up. But this would be an opportune time to make clear to you the screwdriver test thing, what you're looking at. I thought it would be. Maybe I need better lighting yet. All right. Can we see that metering sleeve in there? This little thing up here is the thing that sticks to the shaft. Maybe I can get it from the back side and lift it enough where you could see it. You see that? I don't know. It's got a slot in it. You see how it's got a slot in it? It's very hard to see on the camera. I swear I'm trying to help you, but so that you know, because that's what people want. There, you can kind of see it. That slot thing moves up and down. Your other piece that we pulled out the side turns, and then it raises this up and down, and that magically delivers your fuel, changes the amount that goes in. Because you see this thing with the spring, it keeps getting shoved up and down, and that's all happening at lightning speed, which you can't, you know, make sense of with the eye if you were watching it. But you see that thing there, and you see that cup in there going up and down like mad. That's what does your like pumping action. And there, it hung up, but the spring pressure will push on it. But that's like pumping while that other thing is doing its thing, and then magic happens, and you have high pressure fuel where you need it. So, without further ado, I think I'm just gonna slap it back together and be done with it, you know? Why should we go farther than we have to right now? Because eventually, if we do this motor right, then we will have to, we'll have to make it more better then. For now, we're gonna roll with this. Yeah, I mean, that metering sleeve is moving as free as you could ever want, so there's nothing else we could really do to make it any better, so we're just gonna roll with it, friends. Yeah, it falls with gravity, and I like that. Now, to put it back together, what we're gonna do, there is one tooth on this that's different than the others. Can you see that? Can you see that this tooth here is like shaved off, and it's even got a line scribed in it? The guy before me had it painted red, and then I kind of cleaned that off when I was cleaning, but that's your tooth that lines up with your timer, which, where is my timer mark? There it is. Can I show it to you? Well, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Let's set this in here first, and then I'll see if it proves out my theory. It does. See, look how nice that drops in there now. That's all she took, you know. That's all she took, but it did turn. Let's see if we can. Yeah, right there's where I'm gonna want it. Right up here is a little nub made into the housing, and that needs to point to our pointer. This is very much similar because it's the same kind of pump, but a much later, this is an earlier rendition of that AMBAC 100 on the Alice Chalmers. Same type of thing. It has a little nub that lines up with a deal there, and that tells you you're in time. And since we made sure to put the thing right back there before we dropped it in, you know, that's the kind of thing where that's how that could have got broke. If a guy was trying to put it in and didn't have it lined up right because he turned the engine wherever, or he was rebuilding the pump on the test stand or whatever, that could happen. Somebody could make a boo-boo. We need to do the pump first and then time the pump to the tractor. Don't try to cut corners and try to do, no. I think that's very possibly what could have taken place at some point and caused us issue. So I'm going to clean up now these sleeves. I call them sleeves. They're like retainers. They hold the hydraulic head down. At the very least, this is the worst. It's gonna leak between here because we're reusing for now, but I think we can live with that. See, this pump is lubed with engine oil. I don't know if you realize that or not. We talked about that before. Just like the one on that Alice Chalmers, it's getting its lube oil, and the whole, all this is engine oil. And then up here is diesel fuel inside of itself up here. So, and that's part of what this does, is it helps keep the engine oil things where they need to go to the right things that they need to go to. And that's how she goes. But yeah, we're just gonna roll with it because we're doing a junkyard revival here, so we're gonna just follow suit with that. But I'm gonna clean these up because they're kind of nasty. I'll put them on, then we'll put this, clean this piece back up just with brake clean only, and put her back together and go. So that's where we're headed. Like I said, if you don't like my ways, you do your junkyard tractor however you'd like. But I'm gonna do mine this way. Part of what I like to do is drop the pieces in the dirt. All right. Tractor, can we play nice today? I don't know. The early ones of these, I'm pretty sure were square, and they didn't have these little barrels. So either this is a totally different pump, or maybe 1953 was the year they changed it. Oh, I like how I've slingshotted those things all over the place through this whole process. So basically, if your pump is stuck, the moral of the story is, I don't know, blessings be with you, because it's probably going to be a struggle to try to save stuff. Soak it maybe first as much as you can in there and see if you can get that sleeve freed up on there, and then see if you can gently turn it by hand, and yeah. Give that a little bit more. The nice thing is, this is all soft metal and it's irreplaceable, so if you break it, great for you. Okay, let's clean this up. As in just running some cleaner over it. This is going to have to be, this is going to be a trick. I don't know which position would fit it better. Okay, we're not thinking. We're not thinking, dum-dum. We're not thinking. The sleeve is all the way down, so we should start like this. There. Now, if we do this right, that didn't work at all. Why didn't that work at all? You know, if you do this wrong, it'll fly apart and scatter pieces all over the yard. So, maybe take a little bit of time doing that, you know, making sure. That's why this retainer's made like it is, because if that would back out even just enough to let that plunger, or that little piece, flip out of there, it could go to full fuel and roast it. That's also supposed to have mechanics wire in it, in those screws, and it doesn't. So we should probably do that before we put the lid back on. Also, but not limited to, we need to get an E-clip to replace that thing that I lost. And then we're going to keep dropping all the pieces in the dirt, because I've been doing a great job at that today. See, I can't even pick it up without dropping it down. But yeah, we need the E-clip to hold the governor rod, and then we need to mechanics wire that, or somehow, something or other, because that, yeah, it needs to be. Let me get the E-clips and we'll see if we can find something. Also, we need to put this back in, which there ain't much to it. It's just it's oil, engine oil passageway, and it's got that little filter thing made to it, and I don't even know what it really, it comes out like the end of the bolt, and then you can see, like now, through that filter. It goes through the filter and then goes into that passageway, into the hydraulic head. And what you're going to want to do is struggle the whole way. You don't want it to go easy where your life would work and everything would be happy. You want everything to be the most difficult way possible, because that way, you know, you're never bored, because nothing is working. It's a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. I mean, and it's not working, and it's not working. And it's not working. That rubber has swelled up, and it doesn't want to go in there. There. Now it'll go. All right. That's good to go. E-clips and wire. Now, if this doesn't work, what we can do is we can rob out of another pump. I've got several of these for spare parts. There. I'd like to say that's not going anywhere like you do with a trailer when you're tying it down, but I hate E-clips, and they usually, I don't trust them. Will you go through there? Yes, you will. How lucky, because that's all I have. Now let's see, naturally it would want to back out, so perhaps I want to go, how do I want to go? Do I want to go under? That'd be more difficult. You know, if I could do something like getting that into there. I don't know that that was a smart thing to do, but also you're going to want the biggest pliers you can get. because it works easier if you have the biggest, unhandiest tool that you own. I realize not all of you are used to handling a massive tool, but it's not all it's cracked up to be, friends. Yeah, let's do that. See, if I do it right, I'll end up breaking the wire right after I get it where I want it. And that's when you know you've succeeded. This actually is not the right kind of wire for this. It's too, you know what I'm saying. Let's call that good. I've done enough. This is not a pretty wire job by any means. Pure pressure. That'll at least maybe keep it from backing off of there. We'll put this on. It might leak, but that's okay. It actually has, I think, provisions for the wire too, but we ain't worried about that. If we lose this, it'll quit running. We'll do that later, is what I'm saying. All right. Fixed. Now, if we would want to proceed to test it, one thing I'm not happy about is this spring. That's not quite right. Somebody's obviously broke it and then stretched it. So it's hard to say how to run. Probably wide open only. What we're gonna have to do though next is, before we can even try it, is I would have to clean up. Well, what I'll do first is dump all the remaining fuel on my pants leg. That way, that's good. But we really need to clean up this filter assembly and change filters in it, and then get diesel fuel hooked onto it and see if we can. We really, I guess, would need a push pump, like a clicky clap pump, to help us, because the hydraulic head really isn't, it's really not made to pump from a distance, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying we couldn't clamp right on here somehow and go straight in and test it, but I would rather, I don't know what I'm saying. I just would rather not. See, now something weird happened. And we're not done yet. And I don't know why that weird thing happened. Does anybody want to guess what's happened? I just tried to turn it by hand, and now it's acting funny. Like it doesn't want to do that thing. And there's no reason that it shouldn't. Oh, there. Oh, that's promising. That feels really good, actually. I think I heard it go, well, oh, jeez. It's just so stupid that I have so much trouble with things. But let me think about this here. It's going to go this way, which is going to go that way, so it's going to go this way. Yeah. I think we got us something, friends. It sounds to me like it's trying to like you can hear it puffing air through. I wonder if we could use some kind of fluid. Something that's probably bad for it. See if we can get any to pop out of there anywhere. This is all purely experimental. I have no idea that this would actually work, but let me get my ratchet. Or not. We'll not get the short one. We'll use this insanely long one. Boy, it feels good. It feels like it's clicking away. I'm gonna say that we got it, friend. And when we throw fuel to it, she's gonna be a wild horse. I wanna see in here again though. We're gonna be in here several times because we're gonna have to time it up, you know. But I think, from what I'm seeing right here, I think that we got us something. Maybe it's garbage, something, but I think, every time you want to do something and you're in a hurry, it just takes so much more time. I wanted to make sure I wasn't turning that backwards, but I think by the way the timing gears are, I was turning it the right way. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that makes me say, yeah, we got it. I do want to do one more thing, I think, and I did it a minute ago, but I think as a parting gift to this pump, I think I would like to take this back out and spray some magical stuff down in there, because that would just be a nice thing to do to help everything stay lubed up down in there. All right, sleep with my blessing. Go to sleep. All right. I think for today the injection pump is going to say nighty night, because there's not a whole lot more I can do with what I got. I have to do some more homework in order to make it, you know, do the thing that we want it to do. Right now I'm just putting the, which I need to put the cover back on the timing window too. I didn't do that. But yeah, I think we have acceptable progress here. I mean, I'm very happy with what we came up with. The pump was not a rusted chunk of garbage, which was a very real possibility that it could have been, and it wasn't. So that's awesome. And when we're done now, I feel like when you turn it, I feel like it feels correct. It jumps each time it fires. It just feels right. I don't know how to describe that if you've never been around one. Let's just fill that all full of love, just to help. That might be a fatal mistake, but I'm a believer that some oil's better than no oil. And that stuff is good stuff. If something's a little bit stuck, it should loosen that up and it will protect. So I'm gonna say that we can't go wrong with that right now. Because remember, junkyard pump. I'm not destroying a fresh, brand new, restored tractor. I'm working on a junkyard tractor. But boy, I'd love to hear it run. Did we say, oh, it does have engine oil in it, doesn't it? forgot about that. This one did have oil in it. Alright. Where do we go from here? Well, most importantly, what we need to do here, we need to seal this up so that it stays just like we leave it today. We don't want, the last thing we want is to now have it, you know, go back to some condition that is not ideal. So I'm going to try to find plastic caps to put over everything, and then we'll move on to something else in this process. But I'm happy where we left this injection pump. I just can't believe that it was that nice. Are you too big? Oh, you're just right. Unfortunately, I don't have enough. That one's not the right size anyway. Oh, I have one in my hand. That's another one that's not the right size. Nope. Yep, that one will stay there. Will this go on there? Yep. I'll see if I can find one more similar thing. Never throw away your plastic plugs, friends. You never know when you might need them again. Since some of them aren't quite the right size, I'm going to do this. In theory, the ones that fit nice should keep the ones that don't in their spot. Until we meet again, pump. Those two will probably stay. All right, good deal. Now that we know that that's good to go, we're gonna go on to something else, and that something's gonna be injectors. You can see how nice and clean they are. Well, we're gonna pull these, which is gonna require a lot of struggling probably, because we need to take off all these return lines. And it appears that they're not going to go without a struggle. It is 3/8, and I've got a line wrench I could get, although I don't always have luck with those either. I think I'm going to try to clean them up a little bit, the fittings, and I'll spray them with the magical stuff, and then I'll go get a line wrench, and that way hopefully maybe they will do the thing? Question mark? I mean, they're thoroughly lubed. You would think that they would play ball, but yeah. All right, would one of these happen to fit? Apparently, my 3/8 one has left the chat. So we're gonna try. I like to see if I can just get all the tools out, you know. So we're going to actually be this way. Okay, there's one. There's two. That one's going to round off. That one's not going to play ball. I wonder if that one is a different size. Okay, we have the luxury of having different ones here now, so would a 9 fit on there? No, it's just a very wore out 3/8. Yep, that's just gonna go roundy round. Maybe it's time for my old friend, the adjustable wrench. Will that fit in there? Probably not. Sure would be nice though. Okay, what we'll do, no, that probably won't work either. We can try. What we might do is leave that line in there and we'll get it off on the bench when we can actually get to it more better. Let's break the rest of them loose if possible. You can see all these, but the procedure is pretty well the same. Some of these I don't know. We can make new ones. I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is getting them out today, you know. That one, that's all that took. Alright, everything except this little feller. Why you no go? I guess we'll go with my plan I said of just getting it to the bench and then doing it. This is a kind of a long, boring task here, but the nice thing about these kind of return lines is they don't leak, you know. Once you screw them down, that's how they are. They stay. Because they're like brake line fittings, you know. Let's douche them again. A good douching really helps sometimes. Makes it a little bit more livable. Well, I'll bring you back when I get this done because this is boring. All right, we're ready to start pulling some injectors. I don't know how it's gonna go. One thing that's gonna happen is tools are gonna keep falling. And you're gonna say, why does that keep falling or happening to you, dum-dum? Well, because a fleet line has a tapered hood or a rounded hood. It's not a true flat surface, and thus the vibrations keep knocking stuff loose. So, I don't know how this is gonna be. Oh, there's my stuff. I was gonna say. I kind of was able to get the wire wheel in there and knock off some of the crud, but I don't know. Based on how the pump looked, maybe these injectors are excellent, but I feel like we need to know. We need to know for sure. We can't just operate on faith alone. This is one of those times when you need sight. Also, what you're going to want to do is take some brake clean straight to the retina, because I'm sure all those warnings on the bottle mean nothing. A little brake cleaner, it might bleach your eye color out a little different. I don't know. It's fine. The burning will stop eventually. Much like the Monday after a hot Friday night. Never mind. We're not going to go there. All right. Jump out of there, injector. Jump. You probably won't do that. Did I bring anything to pry with? No. I need something to just help me a little bit. Let's see. Something that will fit. Let's hope that they aren't stuck tight. Let's hope that they aren't stuck tight. These are kind of a bummer too, because you can't turn them to get them. You'd have to get a stud loose or something. So, yeah. I'm probably gonna have to get actual pry bars instead of the stuff that I brought, you know? Why would I bring the correct stuff? I'm gonna go grab some more tools. We don't have them all out yet. All right, injector. Oh, that's gonna be fun, because I'm gonna end up shaking all of the tools off the hood. Come on, now you're ready. The return line already won't come out. You don't need to be doing more stupid stuff. Another problem is the head being loose. You don't have a lot you can do. I think I moved it. This may be the kind of thing where we actually have to take the sheet metal off. And do a real job, you know. It's loose, I think. It's just not coming the whole way. But see, we like to play that game, Tractors and I do, where we just go round and round for no reason. They really like to do that to me for no reason. Come on. You're loose enough to spin, you're loose enough to come out. That's the kind of stuff that aggravates you. You know that it'll come out of there, but it's not wanting to play ball. Come on. I'm pulling the head off of the block. Come on. That's nuts. Get back on there. Get back on there. Yeah, we might have to put a bolt in to... It's loose. I've had it spinning, but it's not the injector. I don't know why it's fighting me, but I'm thinking it's time to move to a different one. Because I've had enough of that. Let's try our luck elsewhere. I mean, there's gonna be one that's a pain in the, so maybe it'll be that one. And then the rest of them will just pop right out. What kind of luck are we gonna have with you? Well, kind of luck where... Come on. There. There. That's what we wanted. Why couldn't the first one do that? Greasy, oily, dirty, but probably fine. But time will tell, you know. We got a whole pile of them in case we need body parts, you know. Injector body parts. Let's put these back on so we don't lose them. Now, since we had to be, yeah, life decided to throw us one. I'm really bummed about that number one. I thought it's moving too. It should come off of there. Oh, that's an idea. Let's see if that one, it will work. Oh, I'm not as dumb as you look. I still can't get it that way, but I can cheat. Since the injector's not, the head's not bolted down, I can cheat and pull the injector out. That one was rusty, number one, so it probably needs bad attention. All right, when I started this video, I thought a couple hours will be good to go. We're now past 5 hours I've worked on this tractor today, and I just got the last injector out. Number 3 did not want to come out, and it shot out of there like a cannon. I don't know, is this isn't the one. I thought I was keeping them in order, but now I don't remember which hole I pulled this one out of. I've been carrying them over to the service truck. They're gonna have to be cleaned up before I even take them in, because they're a nasty mess. But everything looks good so far. I haven't seen anything else really terrible. So I'm convinced that our pump might probably work, possibly, question mark. So we're good there. We're going to take these injectors and have them gone through. And that'll be the 2 biggest pieces probably of our puzzle here, you know. I've got all the gaskets to put it back together. I think the head will probably be okay because it was put together with the rocker arms off, so all the valves stayed closed. So they seem to look fine. Everything was capped off really well, so no water got down in anything. There's potential here, friends. So a lot more cleaning and a lot more little stuff. I'm going to have another video, I think, here in a second, starting just fixing the rest of the stuff so that it's ready to start putting together, because there's things that are still missing and things that need attention, like this nose, which just broke off, and it's super annoying because it makes everything really floppy and it won't stay. I've got another radiator for it, so we can slap that in this when we get it. But I might go ahead and just clean up the frame and make it the front of the motor the best it can be, you know, and do the same thing with everything along the way, because we know we're going to save this one. You know, it may not be a frame off restoration right now, but we need to keep it, preserve it, you know, along the way. If we can get it running and driving, that would be super sweet. If not, we'll table this till we gather enough parts to make it happen. So yeah, this is where we're going to leave this one. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.